Chapter 1, Salted Fish. Check in for the first time. Meteor Tears. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Outside the Holy Soul village, the sky was bright, and the white mist covered the small wooden houses in the village. A little boy dressed in plain linen ran out from the misty village gate. He has wheat-colored skin, bright eyes, and even breathing. He ran to the small mountain in front of him without any rush, ran halfway, suddenly remembered something, stopped at the foot of the hill, and looked over one of the boulders. I saw a little boy about his size lying on the boulder. The little boy had beautiful eyes and looked very attractive, but now he looked lazy, lying on the boulder, with Erlang's legs, his mouth still holding a blue-silver grass that can be seen everywhere in and outside the village, chewing it. Delicious. Brother Feng, wake up so early every day, do you work out with me today? That he smiled at the little boy on the boulder. Little Sanner. Get out, I lie down righteous, and squint for a while. The sky is getting hotter and hotter. When you finish exercising, come and wake me up again. The little boy on the boulder didn't open his eyes. He seemed to have known the person, so he said lazily. Brother Feng, can you not call me by the name Sanner? Tang San gave a wry smile. Feng Gu, his full name is Wang Feng, is a few months older than him, a famous little slacker in Holy Soul village. Other 5 or 6-year-old boys, at this age, mostly get up and exercise in the morning to prepare for the imminent awakening of the spirit. Either get up early to cultivate the land and do some farm work with your parents. Brother Feng often looks hopeless from morning, lying down and doing nothing. However, Brother Feng is very pitiful. When he was first born, I heard from the village chief's grandfather that his mother had passed away because of a dystocia. Later, my father was overwhelmed with grief and became ill from overwork. Within a year, he also died. Then, Brother Feng was adopted by the village chief's grandfather. As the days passed, Feng Gu gradually became the governor. In addition to paying homage to his parents every year, he would not be immersed in the sadness of his parents' early death. Although he is lazy, Feng Gu is really smart. Thinking of this, Tang San still looked at the little boy lying on the boulder with some admiration. In the past few years, Feng Gu didn't know how to make Xuanhuan village's food and vegetable output greatly increase, making the originally barren Xuanhuan village gradually richer. Gu Feng also stood up at the entrance of the village, the pillar that was in the mouth of the village chief's grandfather, which may be the legendary Soul Saint's handprint, claimed to the outside world that this was the handprint left by the Soul Sage, and he also compiled a lot of stories, saying that as long as they come to pay their respects and touch, they may become the Soul Sage in the future. It just attracted a lot of villages around, even Nodding City. There are often tourists who come to the village to pay their respects. The remote and barren Holy Soul village will be built like a small town within 2 years. Even my father said, this maple boy, his brain is different from others, smart and sensible. The whole village likes him, is too lazy. Not called Junior. Wang Feng thought for a while, could it be called Junior? Tang San looked speechless. Let's call Xiao San. Brother Feng, I'm going to exercise first. As he said, Tang San waved his hand and swiftly climbed towards the distant hill. Although the other person is small, his hands and feet are very swift. The hills over 100 meters high seem to be flat in front of him. Within a few minutes, I climbed to the top of the mountain. As the saying goes, 1/3 of the sky is doomed. 7 points depend on hard work. 90 points depend on gold fingers. As the protagonist of the Douluo continent, it is different. Wang Feng looked at Tang San's clean and sleek expression with an expression that was just right for lemon. Is this what a 6-year-old boy should have? Like himself, let alone climb up, he can't kick him after running for a while. They are all traversers. Xiao San, you are the strong reborn. Wang Feng sighed leisurely. I'm different, I'm a rebirth of the weak. I am a small house in the 21st century. My duty, how can I cross into the world of Douluo continent? A supporting role in a dragon suit. Don't give me a gold finger. How can I play it? Yes, Wang Feng is also a traverser, but compared to the protagonist Tang San, it is much worse. There is no background against the sky, no ding-ding system, and no martial arts spirit. Of course, Wang Feng is very eager, but no. Therefore, Wang Feng has been salting fish for 6 years, but with the wisdom of his previous life, he can barely improve the Holy Soul Village, so that he and the villagers can live a little more comfortable. Soon, it will be the official plot of the Douluo continent, and the tool man Su Yuntao should be about to come. If I awaken a sickle spirit or a spirit, I will just slam my head on the tofu and kill him directly. Wang Feng chewed on the blue-silver grass and looked at Tang San, who was on the hill, breathing out, cultivating Shantian Gong and purple demon eye, in the eyes of, that is extremely envied. He was on this boulder every day, watching Tang San practice, just wondering if he could secretly learn a trick. Unfortunately, he is not a genius, and he has no perspective. I watched it for more than a year, but I didn't see anything. But watching Tang San slowly grow stronger, the lemons are full of baskets, and the baskets are full. Those Douluo fanfictions that I read in my previous life, just behave with Tang San and make a brother, and they will teach you all of Tang Sek's unique knowledge. It's a mess. When Wang Feng thought of this, he suddenly scolded the authors who hated Shabi. This Tang San is not a 6-year-old child, but the soul of his family is a genius who has played tricks on many high-level Tang Seks, and can also create the Tang Sek's supreme hidden weapon, Buddha Fury Tang Lian, and learn the highest internal strength of Tang Sect, is still the soul of an adult. Even his father, Tang Hao, didn't mention this Shantian Baolu. When he was 6 years old, he was hidden as the biggest secret. How can tell you an outsider? People have just crossed to the Douluo continent not long ago. Even if you are a real brother, Tang San might not pass it to you. I really want to go back. Oh, no cell phone, no computer, can't use Douyin, can't play games, S9 doesn't know if G21 or FPX1. I can't find the resources even if it's special. Forget it, I won't move. Wang Feng sighed. For the past 6 years, he has always wanted to go back. If there is a gold finger, Wang Feng feels that he must be proud and ambitious. In this Douluo continent, he fought fiercely in all directions, married a few beautiful girls, created a reputation and left a legend. No. Forget it, salt the fish. After a while, as the rising sun was born on the horizon, the purple clouds were scattered on the ground, as if they were covered with bright clothes. Wang Feng also felt a touch of warmth. Mr. San, you should be done soon, right? As soon as Wang Feng finished muttering, he saw Tang San walking down from the hill in a glamorous manner. Brother Feng, why are you still holding blue-silver grass in your mouth? Tang San looked at Wang Feng, who was still lying on the boulder, basking in the rising sun, and said helplessly. Why, do you still look down on blue-silver grass? Wang Feng chewed a few times. Yu reading www.uukangshu.com. This is, the most common grass after all. Tang San said seriously. However, even though it is an ordinary grass, its vitality is also the most vigorous and tenacious. In this regard, the blue-silver grass is not ordinary. I don't mean to look down upon it. Hearing these words, Wang Feng looked at Tang San dumbly. Deserves to be the protagonist. He is different from the rest of the little kids, and he can say these very meaningful words. That's right, so I decided. Xiao San, your martial arts spirit will be Lan Yin Chao. Wang Feng said lazily. Brother Feng, you are too bad, right? Tang San gave a wry smile. Curse me. After all, this is the most common plant grass. Tang San still hopes that his martial soul will be a little better. However, the spirit of the martial arts will only appear after awakening. Brother Feng, what you said is not counted. Tang San left with a smile, not forgetting to turn around and say something. Brother Feng, remember to go back to the village for dinner. Wang Feng watched Tang San go away silently, sighed faintly, and his heart was sour for a while. Is also at this time. Ding, the story of Douluo mainland officially begins. Congratulations to the host for the first time to check in and get the item, Meteor Tears. Note, the item will be delivered to the host in a realistic way. It is expected to arrive this evening. Please check it carefully. Next time you check in, Holy Soul Village, Wuhun Hall. If you can check in with the innate full soul power, it will trigger additional mysterious martial arts. Hope the host will work hard to improve. Boom. With this sound in his mind, Wang Feng jumped directly from the boulder like a cat with exploded hair. Flushed with excitement, P.S., newcomer and new book, please support. Chapter 2, The Power of Meteors and Tears. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Wang Feng jumped directly from the boulder, auxiliary punch card system. I know that cheats may be late, but they will never be absent. Meteor Tears. Isn't this the golden finger of the protagonist in Star Change? Wang Feng was so excited for the first time in 6 years. As a small house, all kinds of cartoons and novels are naturally not a problem. Star Change is also a very famous novel, The Golden Fingers of the Protagonist Qinglian Meteor Tears, which is the formation of the energy gathered after the death of the goddess of life in the legend. In the initial stage, the speed of absorbing the vitality of the heavens and the earth can be greatly increased, and at the same time, it also has a strong recovery ability. The protagonist Qinyu used this thing in the early stage to break through the limit of the human body and become more powerful. And as you become stronger, you can slowly develop more abilities. With this thing, even if I don't know the jerkiness in the Tang Sangshuanshan Bayalu, as long as I exercise beyond the limit, my body will become extremely powerful. That after Wang Feng was excited, he quickly calmed down and started thinking, now that I have golden fingers, I can't salt the fish for now. With the hope of becoming stronger, Wang Feng is full of motivation, feeling that his body is full of power, and the future seems bright. Then, Wang Feng continued to lie on the boulder, turned over by the way, and thought again with the blue-silver grass in his mouth. This auxiliary clock-in system said that the meteors and tears will arrive at night. It is useless to be anxious now. I will first think about how to exercise. Wang Feng suddenly felt a little grateful. When he was on the earth, he watched a lot of various training videos, what kind of abdominal tirers, Russian stand-ups, special forces devil training, often looked excited and turned over and over in the blanket, and then threw it into the favorites to eat ashes. Practice does not exist, that thing, practice it, it's terrible. I haven't had a few years of hard work. I don't want to have the slightest achievement. If one is not good, it is easy to practice problems. With Meteor Tears, it's different. Time is greatly reduced, efficiency is improved, and there is absolutely no trouble. According to the time Jack Grandpa said, Brother Tao should come to the Wuhuan Hall of the Holy Soul Village in a month for the awakening ceremony. Wang Feng thought secretly, if you punch in the Martial Soul Hall of the Holy Soul Village, and you can punch in with the innate full soul power, you can get extra rewards. That is, within this month, I need to reach the innate full soul power, like the same as the junior. However, Xiao San has been cultivating for several years before he awakened with innate soul power during the awakening ceremony. 1 month. It seems that I have to eat or drink. While thinking, Wang Feng took a moment to return to the Holy Soul Village for a meal, and then ran out in a hurry. Until the evening, the night came and the breeze was blowing. Wang Feng looked at the starry sky and waited quietly on a high platform outside a small forest. Meteor Tears, should they fall as a meteor? Wang Feng stared at the night. Suddenly a ray of light flashed across the dark sky, and a meteor came from the distant sky towards Wang Feng's location. Coming. Wang Feng's eyes widened, staring straight at the shooting star, and smashing it directly at him. Fuck me, wouldn't you just smash me to death? Could it be that I, Wang Feng, will be the first to be cheated, the one who killed? However, Wang Feng thinks too much. I saw that light directly from the position of his heart, and a burst of light lines appeared on his chest, beautiful, like a blooming sunflower. Wang Feng felt his heart beating a few times. Vaguely, he could feel a surge of power. My heart, is it possible to merge with the falling stars and tears? Wang Feng looked at the slightly glowing heart part, and said secretly, should it become a nuclear reactor? Thinking, Wang Feng's mind was shocked, and he ran wildly forward, trying to see if his body had changed. After running for a while, Wang Feng felt his legs numb and began to feel dizzy. The body has not become stronger. It seems that it needs to reach a certain limit to stimulate the power of Meteor Tears. Wang Feng gritted his teeth. The road in this small forest is relatively rugged, and it is far more tiring to run than an ordinary road. With a 6-year-old body, he can run at high intensity for 10 minutes. Wang Feng felt a little suffocated in his breathing and couldn't breathe at all. This golden finger is not fake, right? Wang Feng felt that every time he took a step, there was another will in his mind, tempting himself, as if saying, stop, run again, you will die, don't hold on, it's useless. Go thick. I want to become stronger. I want a girl, I want a martial arts soul, I want to be innately full of soul power, and I want to pretend. You can't confuse me, Wang Feng shouted loudly in his heart, I have a golden finger. If I can't insist, Wang Feng is really a waste of iron, yelled in his heart and persisted, and Wang Feng continued to run. It seemed that he wanted to vent the unwillingness of the mediocre 20 years in his previous life, as well as the lemons that had just met Tang San in the past few years after traveling to the Douluo continent. Wang Feng's pace is getting slower and slower. His legs begin to tremble, his face is red, and his pupils begin to diverge. This is a sign of collapse. At this time, he has been running for nearly an hour, and he hasn't exercised his young body at the age of 6. This is almost the limit. The big beads of sweat run through the whole body, soaking the clothes, and the short shredded hair, as if just washed. Wang Feng felt that his consciousness was blurred. I really used up my will for 2 lifetimes, no, I can't stop. Wang Feng felt a little fuzzy in consciousness, and he didn't know how long he had been running. It should be almost 2 hours, he felt that he had reached the limit. In this state, my vision is already blurred, boom. The slow feet were mixed directly on a stone, and Wang Feng was mixed on the ground. With this fall, Wang Feng felt that he was endlessly tired, like a tide, coming from all directions. Body, it feels like it's not my own anymore. In this extreme state, Wang Feng feels close contact with the of death. This is indeed the case. A little boy without exercise can easily suffocate and die from fatigue, but, is also at this time, a soft energy slowly radiated from Wang Feng's heart position to all parts of the body. That feeling is 10,000 times more comfortable than hot springs. The muscles and joints worn out by sudden high-intensity exercise, and various parts of the body, quickly began to recover, is like a rebirth from a fire. Under this energy wash, the cells seem to be reborn and become full of vitality. It's so cool. Wang Feng almost yelled, how uncomfortable it was just now, how cool it is now. Also, I can almost experience the feeling that every part of the body becomes more powerful under the energy of falling stars and tears. 10 minutes later, Wang Feng opened his eyes, and with a sudden force on his limbs, he straightened up. After the body surpasses the limit, it becomes stronger. This Meteor Tear is indeed very powerful. Even if I don't know any exercises, it is enough to make me stronger. Wang Feng flexed his hands, feeling that he became stronger visible to the naked eye. Not enough, there seems to be a faint energy flowing in my body. Could it be that it is automatically absorbed? Wang Feng touched his lower abdomen, he feels there is a warm current here. Wandering down the whole body, it's still fully automatic. I now feel that a 7 or 8-year-old child can be knocked down with one punch. This is only 2 hours of exercise. Wang Feng clenched his fists, full of excitement. However, as he becomes stronger, it becomes harder to exceed the limits of his body. This warm current should be the key to innate soul power. Is it soul power? No matter what, keep exercising. I will continue to exceed the limit. In the small woods, there was another whistling and whistling sound. The next morning, the sky was overwhelmingly bright. Tang San had already finished washing, controlling his breathing all the way, and ran out from the village gates smoothly, looking at the small mountain bag that was already familiar in the distance. Tang San smiled slightly, his eyes fell on the huge boulder not far away again, and he was stunned. Where is Feng brother? Tang San was surprised. Usually, at this point, he can see brother Feng almost every day, lying on the huge rock, lying like a fish that has been picked up and dried. There is still a blue-silver grass in his mouth. What, today? I disappeared. See a ghost? Tang San secretly said in his heart. Looking around, Tang San suddenly saw a familiar figure in the small forest ahead, leaning on a tree trunk, still holding a blue-silver grass in his mouth, squinted his eyes, looking leisurely. Brother Feng, how did you change your position today? Tang San walked over and asked curiously. The uneven marks on the boulder should be laid flat by you, right? Wang Feng raised his head, opened his eyes, and looked at Tang San. Suddenly, at this moment, Tang San felt that Brother Feng was a little different, unable to speak. In Brother Feng's eyes, although they were still lazy, they had a sharp taste. It was like the old dad who was lazy all year round, but when he was hitting iron, he occasionally showed a sharp look, which made Tang San feel refreshed. Shocked. Even gave him a small sense of oppression, and even his body seemed to be a bit taller. Sir, Yu reading www.uukangshu.com. People have to go to higher places. Feng Gu, I'm also time to move. Wang Feng said lightly. After a night of exercise, when the sun was about to rise, he finally surpassed his limit for the second time, and was washed by the energy overflowing from the falling stars, and tears once again got stronger. Well, do you work out with me today? Tang San smiled and pointed to the small mountain bag in front of him. But, Brother Feng, you haven't exercised for a long time. You should start from basic jogging. At this time, Wang Feng suddenly patted Tang San on the shoulder a little heavy. His voice seemed a little low. Little Sanner, in fact, in the past few years, Feng Gu didn't tell you, that small mountain bag was conquered by me a long time ago. Hearing this, Tang San was taken aback and couldn't help but smile. Fart. Brother Feng, you have been lying down there every day for the past few years, watching me exercise. Do you conquer the air? That hill is more than 100 meters long, and it is extremely rugged. Even if you exercise with me every day, you may not be able to climb it. Tang San knew that he had cultivated Shantian Gong, and his physical fitness had long surpassed that of his peers, so he could climb up easily. After thinking about it, Tang San said cautiously. This, Brother Feng, it's already dawn. Wang Feng, co-author, do you think I'm talking in sleep? The corner of Wang Feng's mouth twitched, and he smiled indifferently, and walked towards the small mountain bag full of breath. Look up, Xiao San. Your Feng brother never brags. Wang Feng laughed, with his hands like pliers. He grabbed the rock on the mountain wall, kicked his foot, and quickly climbed towards the hill. Seeing this scene, Tang San suddenly widened his eyes and looked at it. Incredible. Chapter 3, Defeat Dawn 3. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Is incredible. In Tang San's sight, Feng Ji's tiny figure was climbing up quickly at a speed visible to the naked eye. Although the speed is much slower than that of yourself, you should know that your current strength is about the same as that of an adult. When is Brother Feng so good? Tang San is full of question marks. And, it's obviously not the first time Feng Gu has climbed. Even the edges and corners of this 100-meter high hill are seldom familiar with. There is no such jerky as he climbed for the first time. It seems to be calculated. Even, it is more concise and convenient than my usual climbing route. Climbing speed is slower than myself, but it takes less time than myself. Too great. Is this a small mountain bag? Has he crawled for many years? Tang San opened his mouth, thinking in his head, he is also a genius, but at this time, watching Feng Gu climb up so quickly, suddenly felt a little ashamed. He used to rely on his excellent physical fitness and never thought about how to climb the mountain to save trouble. Take Feng Ji's climbing route, I can save more time and energy than usual. Tang San looked at the figure already standing on the mountain with admiration. He who cultivated the purple demon. I could clearly see that Brother Feng was standing on the top of the mountain at this time. His face was not red, and he was not angry. Has a long breath. The physical strength is also excellent. But I have never seen it before. Feng Gu climbs this mountain. I haven't even seen exercise. Tang San felt a little puzzled. Other children of the same age, none of them can climb this hill. Even if they can run up, most of them are lying on the ground with exhaustion and do not want to move. As far as Feng Gu can be blown by a gust of wind. Could it be that Brother Feng is so talented? Really conquered this hill long ago? Tang San pondered. But, let him think. Also can't think of, this is actually just the result of Wang Feng's exercise all night. In order to pretend this comparison, Wang Feng even discredited climbing this small mountain bag in advance, and after watching Tang San exercise all these years, he had already clearly remembered this small mountain bag. Now that the body has surpassed its limits and was changed by Meteor Tears, not only the physical fitness has changed, but the memory, etc., has also begun to become stronger. Naturally, the current effect can be achieved, using a labor-saving route to quickly climb to the top of the mountain. Agile and old-fashioned like climbing for many years, after all, climbing the mountain with a scientific route. What is Feng Gu doing? After a while, Tang San watched Feng Gu on the top of the mountain, doing all kinds of strange movements, sometimes put up a finger, propped on the ground, lay flat, lay down on the ground, and then propped it up again, sometimes as if sitting in the air, the body sank, and the calf and thigh were 90 degrees, sometimes his hands stand upside down, raised high, and then quickly propped his fingers flat on the ground, back and forth repeatedly. The more he looked, Tang Sanua was shocked. Because of these actions, it seems simple, but in fact it has a great consumption of the body. In less than a cup of tea, Tang San watched Feng Gu make those weird movements group by hundreds of them. If I hadn't used Xian Tian Gong, I'm afraid I wouldn't be much better than Feng Gu. Tang San watched in amazement. These movements have a strong exercise effect. But when he talked about the top of the mountain, Wang Feng smiled secretly in his heart. Xiao Saner's shocked gaze was naturally noticed by him. Small sample. Although you are also a traverser, you are not a modern traverser. My explosive Russian ting, Bobby jumping for training full body muscles, and the enhanced squat that men must practice. Your eyeballs. Wang Feng laughed secretly in his heart. After all, these are all kinds of exercise methods after modern tempering. Naturally, I understand. If placed in the past, Wang Feng would only be envious of watching which great gods in the video, all kinds of cool body control exercises. Now, I can almost reach that level in just one night, although, this is just the body of a 6-year-old child. But this sense of accomplishment is something that Wang Feng has never shown. Goldfinger is awesome. Wang Feng laughed in a low voice. However, as the physical fitness becomes stronger, it will become more and more difficult to exceed the limits of the body. But every time I exceed it, my body will be washed and tempered by the energy overflowing from meteors and tears. In the future, we need to use various methods to increase training. One night, I can exercise beyond the physical limit twice because Wang Feng was very weak before. It won't last long, and I will win the limit. But after these two changes, his body has become much stronger, and it is even more difficult to surpass the limits of his body again and reach the point where he is on the verge of collapse of will. And there is no pain in his body. At this time, Tang San also climbed up, looking at Wang Feng with admiration. Wang Feng has slightly revealed his muscular arm, and he stood up firmly with a light support. Little Saner. What do you say? Wang Feng smiled lightly. Awesome. Tang San said sincerely, I used to miss my eyes. It turns out that Brother Feng lays on the boulders every day to bask in the sun. It's not laziness. I think you should disdain for ordinary exercise, right? Wang Feng coughed a few times. Really not. At that time, I was really a salted fish, but Tang San did admire that Brother Feng hadn't practiced any exercises, so he could exercise to such a level only by exercising. This perseverance and talent are indispensable. What I admire the most, is the route Feng Gu just used to climb the mountain. I haven't thought about it for so many years. Tang San feels a little ashamed. It's okay. Wang Feng patted Tang San on the shoulder. Have you learned? Tang San nodded. Just learn it. Wang Feng suddenly changed his voice and said with a smile, Little Saner, the spirit awakening will take place in less than a month. Grandpa Jack should have told you about it. I know, Grandpa Jack mentioned it to me occasionally, but Dad seems to be very resistant to this. I didn't dare to mention it. Tang San whispered. Well, 1 month later, let's fight. Wang Feng said solemnly. Fight? Tang San looked at Brother Feng in surprise. Abruptly, Wang Feng looked at the sky deeply and said in the vicissitudes of life. Actually, from my observations in Xuanhuan village over the years, I found out that you can compare with me in the 3rd grade. Other children of the same age are too weak. Sometimes, I feel that I am too strong. Very lonely, very lonely. You know what? Tang San looked at Wang Feng speechlessly. However, he knows that Brother Feng is smart, and sometimes he likes to talk about messy things or big things, also likes to brag. Therefore, Yu reading www.yuukangshu.com doesn't feel any weird to Feng Ji's tone. So, when the time comes, let's fight. Wang Feng laughed. Okay. Tang San nodded and said seriously, however, Brother Feng, you can't beat me. Don't worry, I won't make you too lonely. Tang San is very clear about his current strength. He has learned all the stunts in the Xian Tian Bao Lu, and he has also practiced the first level of Xian Tian Gong. Don't talk about 1 Feng Gu, even 10 Feng Gu, probably can beat yourself. It is undeniable that Feng Ji's physical fitness is very good, but it is only good. Okay, then it's settled. Wang Feng chuckled, and then climbed down the mountain. Tang San shook his head. 1 month, it's like defeating myself who has cultivated for several years. Brother Feng, this is what you asked for. Don't worry, I will prepare all kinds of ointments for you in advance when the time comes, to repay you for these 2 years. The conditions in the Holy Soul Village have become better and better, so that Dad and I can eat better and better, and live better and better. Hey. If I can defeat Shaosan in a month, I should also be born with full spirit power. Wang Feng, who ran down the mountain, thought of it secretly in his heart. In order to ensure the second time to punch the card, he can punch the card with innate soul power. Wang Feng doesn't know how much he has exercised. Is the innate full soul power satisfied? That's why I made this request. As long as you train yourself, you can defeat Tang San. Logically speaking, you should also be innately full of spirit power, right? There is nothing wrong with logic, right? With this goal, Wang Feng continued to exercise frantically, so, in the blink of an eye, half a month passed. Chapter 4, Tang Hao's Shock. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Outside the Holy Soul Village, in a dense forest, quiet, very quiet. The bird has been, on a big tree tens of meters high, gently flapping its wings, pecking at the worm in the branch. At this moment, a figure swayed, but only a gust of wind blew. The bird didn't even notice it, still flapping its wings. The next moment, behind the tree trunk, a striped snake that was 2 to 3 meters long suddenly appeared, staring at the bird silently. Far away, in the nest, a few young birds chirping towards this bird, but this bird thought it was just a baby bird hungry, so he walked a few steps, walked into the nest, and fed the insects caught in his beak into the mouths of several young birds. Is also at this time. Hiss. Suddenly, the striped snake at the back opened a big mouth toward the bird and bit it, very fast. The bird is about to be swallowed by this striped snake. The baby bird in the nest is yelling, as if to remind the mother bird, but the mother bird noticed it was too late. At this crisis, a blast of majesty suddenly passed. The striped snake was suddenly stunned and saw him at a position of 7 inches. I don't know when, he was caught by a boy who appeared suddenly. It didn't even react at all. Small things. The boy grabbed the striped snake and grinned. The sun shines through the gaps in the leaves and falls on the boy's smiling face, reflecting his fair face with so much beauty. The boy Chigua is shirtless, showing a fairly sturdy body. Although he is only about 1.2 meters tall, he already gives people a powerful sense of shape. The zebra snake was pinched by 7 inches, his head was swayed, and suddenly he turned his head strangely and bit directly on the boy's arm. Oh. It's pretty awkward. It seems that today's breakfast is you. Am I grilling or stewing? That the boy squeezed his chin and talked, as if he didn't put the spotted snake in his eyes at all. Click. The zebra snake opened its 2 sharp teeth and bit on the boy's arm. However, point 2 sharp venomous teeth, as if biting on a stone, they broke directly, and the boy's skin, there are only 2 gravure marks, no scars. Striped snake. If you are a boa constrictor, you might still bite me. You're just your little body. You can't live for 3 seconds in my stomach, and you want to bite me. Wang Feng looked at this ordinary striped snake with disdain. More than 20 days have passed since the day agreed with Shaosan that day. After 20 days of hard training, Wang Feng has gone through nearly 4 physical limits. Every improvement is extremely huge. At least, Wang Feng can now feel that even if an adult is in front of him, he will be easily knocked down by himself. You know, he is only 6 years old. However, the more you train to the back, the harder it is to exceed your physical limits. The most recent one was 6 days ago. The most terrifying thing is that besides pure physical fitness, there is an increase in physical strength. Wang Feng felt his skin, and even his muscles, unusually firm. A slightly blunt knife can't even cut my skin. Like the venomous teeth of this striped snake, they are also very sharp, and they can only leave 2 graviers. Pure strength should be more than twice stronger than that of an adult man. But the weight of my body is very low. The density of muscles and the sense of strength are super strong, which makes me extremely fast. Wang Feng muttered to himself, the biggest improvement in the past 20 days is that as the intensity of exercise increases, the more you control your body. As far as the data is concerned, Wang Feng can hold a 30 gene stone and do 200 squats in a row without leaving a drop of sweat. Can continue to do nearly 200 poppy jumps, which are claimed to be able to exercise the muscles of the whole body, without any effort. You must know that Bobby jump, in a previous life, even if a special soldier with extremely high physical quality, it is difficult to make 200 consecutive, is more than twice as powerful as an adult man, has a long-lasting and terrifying endurance, and has unparalleled speed. Is the result of these 20 days of training. If it is placed in the previous life, it may not be able to achieve this effect for 10 years, because Wang Feng is only 6 years old. And this warm current in my body. Wang Feng scratched his head, I don't know how to use it, this should also be the key to innate full soul power. I don't know how far it is compared with Tang San, I'll know when the time comes. At this time, the bird ran to Wang Feng's feet and pecked a few times. Little guy, be careful. Go away. Wang Feng glanced at the bird, and with a light footstep, the whole person turned into a phantom, disappeared in an instant, and appeared on an uncle's branch in the distance. Then, Wang Feng kicked again, and the whole person fell on the big branch in front of him with great precision. The posture is chic and beautiful. Not long after, Wang Feng peeled the skin and bones of the striped snake he had, and grilled it happily. Think of it as a morning snack. Wang Feng burped slightly, and then continued to start today's exercise. Well, that guy, Xiao Sanner, these days, he should have learned the chaotic cloak hammer method with his father. I simply exercise like this, it is difficult to exceed the limits of the current physical body. I don't necessarily need to learn this chaotic cloak hammer method, but using iron, you can exercise. While thinking, Wang Feng first ran 100 times around the grove, until the body felt a little hot, then quietly ran back to the Holy Soul Village. I remember in the original book, Tang Hao likes to sleep in the morning. Wang Feng quietly came to the iron shop of Xia Sanjia. At this time, the Holy Soul Village is quiet, most people have not woken up yet. Xiao San should have just gone out to exercise. Walking into the blacksmith shop in Tang Hao's house, Wang Feng has been here many times, familiar with the road, and looked at the hammer, a hammer a few centimeters taller than his whole body. Wang Feng gently shook the hammer. Good weight. Wang Feng hissed slightly, at least 70 or 80 caddies. This is considered an adult, and it may not be able to wave it. This Tang Hao deserves to be the Haotian Douluo. But to me, it doesn't count. What? Wang Feng directly held the hammer with one hand, and after a few strokes, it felt quite good. Ordinary training with those 20 or 30 kilograms of rocks is no longer enough, but the rock is too big and he doesn't take it up to exercise. After all, he is only 6 years old, although this hammer is also very big, it is very good. Then, Wang Feng looked at a huge piece of raw iron again. Uncle Hao, lend you a hammer for a use. Wang Feng smiled, took another piece of raw iron, walked out of the forge, and walked outside. Of course he couldn't get up in the blacksmith's shop. If he directly awakened Tang Hao, with Tang Hao's temper, he would definitely kick him out. However, Wang Feng didn't know that he had just walked away on his front foot at UU reading www.aconshu.com. Tang Hao in the inner room opened his eyes, and a faint light flashed through his muddy eyes. Little Feng, can he handle my hammer? He also took a piece of raw iron. What does he want to do? Tang Hao got up from the bed, with his vigilance. How could he not notice a 6-year-old boy even if it was not as good as before? Thinking, Tang Hao quietly walked out, unconsciously following Wang Feng. Every time he came to a remote and empty area, immediately afterwards, Tang Hao saw Wang Feng, the boy, who directly picked up his hammer and began to beat the piece of raw iron. Clang! A clear and beautiful voice sounded. This kid, his brain is very useful, but his body is very weak. I haven't been here for a few days, why do I suddenly think of hitting iron? Tang Hao was a little strange, and he felt a little interesting in his heart. He looked at Wang Feng and suddenly raised the 70 or 80 gene hammer, and his eyes were suddenly surprised. Really able to swing? Xiaosan is born with supernatural power, can swing 100 hammers continuously. Your boy is such a virtual body, can lift so far, swing a hammer or two, I guess you will be limp. Even if you want to exercise, I don't know the importance. After thinking for a while, Tang Hao frowned slightly, intending to take action directly to stop this maple boy. After all, with such a heavy hammer, if you accidentally pick it up, you can easily hurt the child's body, and he usually doesn't ask about foreign affairs. Even Tang San doesn't know that Wang Feng has undergone earth-shaking changes during special training these days, let alone Tang Hao, so naturally he doesn't know, but when Tang Hao was about to stop him, he looked at the scene in front of him, and was suddenly stunned. The pupils shrank suddenly. Chapter 5, Maple Boy, This Freak. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Clang! 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 There was a percussive sound. Tang Hao's sight, the little boy who was only half his height picked up a sledgehammer about the height of his body. Click, knock again, that piece of raw iron. Speed, not fast, but very stable. To the back, steady, almost the power of every hammer has not changed at all. This is very scary. You need to know that it is very difficult to control the power of each hammer to temper the original iron. Tang Hao was originally the existence of the once titled Douluo, and now he is nesting in the Holy Soul Village. After several years of iron work, he naturally knows the difficulties. 10. 20. 30. 50. Tang Hao stood in the dark, counting every hammer that Wang Feng hit, 50 hammers. It's hard to imagine, this is usually very lazy, very clever, and he likes to come to the door to eat, but he is kicked out. He looked at the little guy who grew up. Unexpectedly, possesses a natural supernatural power that can be compared to a junior. This really made Tang Hao very surprised. Moreover, this kid is probably talented, even better than the junior. Because, although Xiao San is equally smart, it is difficult to be like this maple boy, with every hammer and strength controlled so delicately. A big difference. The more so, the more so. If you talk about the first 10 hammers, when Feng Xiaozi swings the giant hammer, there are still some problems with the force, resulting in uneven power. But since the 11th hammer, the power of each hammer has been controlled very skillfully. Tang Hao looked more and more surprised. This means that this kid has unparalleled insight and control over every muscle in his body. Can do it, so quickly comprehend the skills of ironing. Still no one is pointing. Although the junior's comprehension is good, and the control of the body is not bad, I didn't give any guidance. But it was only after a day of knocking that I barely learned to control every inch of the body's percussion. But, even so, the junior's heat is far from enough. It will take more than 10 days at least, to see initial results. Tang Hao's eyes flickered. Gaze fell on the maple boy. Tang Hao seemed to see Wang Feng's heart, as if he had endless power. A stream of blood spewed out, like the original power. The soles of the feet are like sticking to the ground, and the power gushing out from the heart seems to be transformed into a stream of colored energy, emanating from the ground, growing from the calf, and then to the thigh, flowing through the waist as the axis, the back. The arms finally gathered in the palm of the hand holding the sledgehammer. Clang! Is a perfect blow, hitting the original iron. Makes a pleasant and perfect sound. I haven't taught Xiaosan these techniques, because it's a bit early for the Xiaosan who can only swing the hammer. As for the chaotic cloak hammer method, it's even early. It needs some time. Tang Hao murmured, unexpectedly. These skills, this maple boy, actually understood these skills by himself. Genius. Tang Hao felt that this could not be described as a genius. If someone teaches it, he will learn it quickly. This is smart. If someone teaches you, you will learn it. This is a genius, but if no one teaches it, understand it yourself. This? The genius among the geniuses. Just by swinging 10 hammers, I can immediately comprehend the skills I have summarized for so many years. Tang Hao looked at the tiny figure, still wielding the giant hammer tirelessly. He suddenly felt a long-lost special sensation. Back then, he was also a genius, but now, Tang Hao felt a sense of a long-lost gap. Although it was small, he didn't care, and quickly let go. However, it has been a little more special for him, who has made Gu Jing not waved over the years, who is extremely decadent. Of course, Tang Hao didn't know Wang Feng can comprehend these skills so quickly, because he has the knowledge of the previous life. In other words, these skills are well known on the earth, let alone that he has seen Douluo continent, as a traverser, in addition to the golden finger given by the system. Wang Feng naturally also has to take advantage of the traverser. Otherwise, what kind of traverser? Wang Feng didn't want to embarrass the seniors. Foresight, strong acceptance, unique insight, certain knowledge reserves, etc., are all advantages of the traverser. With golden fingers, these advantages will be maximized. Therefore, Wang Feng is just using these skills quickly and proficiently, not his own comprehension. However, at this moment, he was focusing on beating the original iron, and he did not notice at all. Tang Hao observed his every move. Naturally, he was regarded as a genius among geniuses. With each hammer hit, Wang Feng felt his body heat up extremely. The power consumed by this hammer is greater than any previous exercise. Plus the strength of the shock, it also brought a great load to Wang Feng's body. One breath, 500 hammers. It should be the limit. Wang Feng breathed smoothly. He knows that in any exercise, breathing is the most important, although Wang Feng does not know any special breathing method, but steady and regular breathing can maximize the exercise of each hammer. Physical strength and endurance are also extraordinary. It has been more than 100 hammers. The breath is not messy at all. From this point, it has exceeded the junior third. Moreover, the junior third can't do every hammer, it is a full blow. Strength. The control is so exquisite. The effect of this hammer is equivalent to the 10 hammers of the junior 3 training these days. Tang Hao calmly continued counting. In these days, I have just started to learn how to swing a hammer. Swinging 100 hammers at a time is the limit, then he will rest for a while, and then continue to hit 100 hammers in one breath. But if it is Feng Xiaozi, with every hammer, full blow, up to 50 or 60 hammers, it will be weak, and it will not be difficult to recover in a short time. 150 hammers in one breath should be the limit of the Maple Boy. Moreover, this knocking method consumes a lot of the body, and it will not fully recover for a long time. Tang Hao observed, this is the fact, vaguely backward, the more consumption. Tang Hao observed very accurately. After 150 hammers, Wang Feng's breathing, although still smooth, was a little messy. The sound is also uneven. Seeing this, Tang Hao also nodded and left quietly. This Maple Boy usually looks lazy, his bones are loose. I didn't expect to be so powerful in the dark. Whether it is talent or physical fitness, they are so strong. People in the village all look at it. I just thought that this kid had a sharp mind, but I never thought it would be so powerful, right? Tang Hao shook his head. He didn't have the mind to talk to the people in the village. If he said this, he knew it. Even Xiao Saner, he didn't bother to care about it, let alone Feng Xiaozi. When you are weak, you will stop. Obediently bring the hammer and a quarter of the original iron back. Tang Hao secretly said in his heart, well, I will go back and sleep for a while. Tang Hao calculated that with the strength of each hammer of the Maple Boy, more than 150 hammers, just enough to quench that piece of raw iron by a quarter. This is already scary. It took 10 days for Xiaosan to hammer out 2/3 of a piece of original iron. This Maple Boy can refine a quarter at a time. Give him 3 or 4 days, maybe it will be completed directly. This is too exaggerated. However, What Tang Hao didn't know was, after he left, Wang Feng did not stop as he thought, but still clenched his teeth and persisted. 150 hammers can only make him feel tired, but the limit is far greater than this value. If Tang Hao saw this scene, he would definitely stop it. If you keep hitting like this, you will reach the 0 point that your body can withstand, and it will hurt your body. Because, as it was, Wang Feng would also be impacted by a great force at the same time he hits. But unfortunately, Tang Hao couldn't see it. He walked back to the village. It was a little far away from that remote place, and I couldn't hear the subsequent percussion, clang clang clang. Clang! 500 hammers. After Wang Feng hit the last hammer, his body was exhausted and his consciousness began to blur, but it has not surpassed the limit. Wang Feng looked at the original iron that had become so much smaller. There was no burning fire, just being hammered by him. It turned red. Meteor Tears did not gush out the energy. It means that I have not exceeded the limit. Wang Feng gritted his teeth, clearly feeling that his body didn't have any strength. Limit, this is the limit. But he wants to exceed the limit. Beautiful girl, powerful martial soul, gorgeous pretense, I want to insist. Upright will, let Wang Feng persevere. Thinking about it, Wang Feng began to wield the giant hammer and knocked it down. 600. 700. Clang. Clang. Until the end, Wang Feng's consciousness was completely blurred. His body was almost instinctive, hitting the original iron. He doesn't even know how many times he has tapped. But, until that piece, the original iron, was completely tempered successfully, Wang Feng fell down. This time, he was really a drop. Oh no, no strength at all. If Tang Hao is still there, I'm afraid I'll drop my jaw, because this 6-year-old boy, he even tempered a piece of raw iron in one go. Boom! As Wang Feng fell to the ground, a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth, because a familiar warm current slowly poured out from the heart. The power of falling stars and tears. It proved that he finally surpassed the limit of the body again. Early morning breakfast the next day. At this moment, Tang Hao woke up leisurely, eating breakfast that Tang San had already cooked, found out that Xiao San was actually tinkering with herbs today. Tang Hao was startled, and was silent for a moment, before asking, "Little San, what are you doing with medicinal herbs? Are you injured?" Tang San shook his head, cautiously. "No, reading www.uukangshu.com today. I agreed with Feng Gu to fight. I'm afraid he is hurt, so I will prepare the ointment for him in advance." As a disciple of the Tang sect, he would naturally prepare a simple ointment. Hearing this, Tang Hao fell silent, rang the scene where the Maple Kid was swinging the giant hammer yesterday. Maple Boy, should be a little stronger than the junior, but if the kids fight, be stronger. It's impossible to say who wins. Xiao San is usually stable. This idea must have been proposed by the Maple Boy. I guess I want to test my level. Tang Hao is a clever man. He probably guessed some reason, is not enough. He is too lazy to bother. The kids are just fighting. Xiao San has always been prudent and well-behaved, and there is no harm in fighting. Well, be careful yourself. Tang Hao said lightly. Seeing this, Tang San heaved a sigh of relief. If the father disagrees, he can't handle it, but he still has to talk to his father about this matter. Then father, I will go out first. Tang San collected the prepared ointment and walked outside. Tang Hao nodded slightly. Was shortly after Tang San left, Tang Hao walked towards the furnace, and suddenly, with a glance, he saw a piece of hardened raw iron. Suddenly, Tang Hao's body shook, and he looked at this piece of raw iron that had been tempered in an incredible way. This piece of raw iron is surprisingly the raw iron he saw yesterday that Wang Feng beat and tempered. Subconsciously, Tang Hao wanted to rush out of the house and pull Tang San back, but after thinking about it, forget it. Forget it. Xiao San prepared the ointment, just as it is for him. Maple Boy, this freak. Tang Hao muttered to himself and walked to the inner room, then fell asleep. Chapter 6, The Horror of Tang 3. I bet there are no stones in your arms. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tang San walked out of the Holy Soul village briskly. While walking, thinking about how to make Feng Gu lose better without hurting Feng Gu. I'm a Tang sect hidden weapon, but I don't have a hidden weapon now, but even ordinary stones can exert great power in my hands. Tang San touched the stones in his arms and cuffs. This is only what he occasionally used to practice many hidden weapon techniques, so as not to be unfamiliar, but after all, it is not a real hidden weapon and its power is limited, but the damage to the child is still very great. A stone can be controlled by yourself, and it is not a problem to pack it out. Wait, you won't need hidden weapons, just use basic fist and foot skills. Xiantian Gong can also be used. Judging from the situation of Feng Gu climbing the mountain that day, his physical fitness is slightly worse than mine. If you use Xiantian Gong, in addition, these days, the promotion brought by swinging a giant hammer and hitting iron, I am afraid that Brother Feng will be overwhelmed with one punch. Tang San pondered, yes, physical fitness alone, plus basic skills, should be enough. This is just Tang San's normal thinking, didn't mean to look down on Feng Gu. Although only children fighting, Tang San has always been a very serious person. Now that I said, if you don't let Brother Feng feel lonely, Tang San will only think about it if he does what he says. After a short while, Tang San came to an empty forest, still the same, still the small wood. Tang San saw Brother Feng. I saw Wang Feng, standing in the distance, with his hands on his back to him, and looking at the sky. The master style, that is too small. Although he has a demeanor, it looks a little funny. The corners of Tang San's mouth twitched slightly when he watched. Don't say, the figure of Brother Feng, he looked like a strong person, is too small. I don't know when. The breeze gradually rises, the branches rattle. Feng Ji's clothes are brand new, unlike their own, washed white, but the back figure is aloof. You are here. A faint voice came from Feng Gu. I'm here. Tang San nodded. I know you will come. Wang Feng continued lightly. Of course I will come, isn't it an appointment? Tang San wondered. At this time, Wang Feng suddenly turned around and fixed his eyes on Tang San. After a long time, he slowly said, it has been almost a month. Well, 20 days. Tang San nodded. Wang Feng sighed, it's been 20 days. Tang San was even more puzzled, 20 short days. But inexplicably, Tang San felt a rare bitterness in Feng Ji's tone. In addition to this situation and this scene, Tang San was unspeakably heavy, and for a while, he was speechless. After all, 20 days, for him, a blink of an eye, but Tang San didn't know, these 20 days, to Wang Feng, seemed like years. The hardship of training in this, almost every moment, is eroding people's will. Fortunately, Wang Feng knew that there were falling stars and tears. Otherwise, he would have died of this kind of fatal exercise. Hey, Xiao Saner, although you haven't read Gu Long's novels, this is pretty good, ha ha ha. Wang Feng suddenly laughed, and instantly destroyed the heavy atmosphere. This passage he just said was a short dialogue between Fu Hongxue and Yan Nanfei in Gu Long's novel. Unexpectedly, Xiao Saner really met him. This laughter suddenly made Tang San's forehead a black line. Feng Gu is really unpredictable, sometimes heavier, sometimes laughing. Come on. Wang Feng's tone changed suddenly. He just finished speaking. Tang San kicked his right foot on the ground, and ran towards Wang Feng extremely fast, hitting Wang Feng's side face with an uppercut. At his speed, people of the same age, he would definitely be overwhelmed by one move, and he couldn't react at all. Even an adult man is not easy to fight. However, at the moment when this punch was about to touch Wang Feng's cheek, Wang Feng's head moved back slightly as if it had entered bullet time when the calcium carbide fired. Is this inch so dangerous and dangerous to avoid this punch? A fist was empty. Tang San didn't stop at all. Using his elbow as a weapon, he continued to attack Wang Feng's shoulder. Wang Feng just gave a faint smile, and moved a few inches to the side. Dangerous and dangerous, avoiding this elbow blow. Seeing this, Tang San was a little surprised. He didn't expect that Brother Feng would always avoid him when he was about to hit him. Coincidence? Tang San frowned, and immediately mixed with various offensives in an orderly fist and foot. Like a tide, wave after wave hit Wang Feng. If you look from a distance, you can see a little boy. With a stern shot, he will face the other smiling little boy in a very regular manner, but this smiling little boy was unscathed. He just didn't let the offensive little boy touch a corner of his clothes. 10 minutes later, Tang San missed another punch, then stepped back and looked at Brother Feng. I was extremely horrified. If the first two attacks are said to be a coincidence, but the next period of time will be a little scary. My own offensive has never stopped, even 2 adult men will be beaten to the ground by this offensive, without the slightest power to fight back. Brother Feng didn't have a trick on himself. He seems to be able to see through all my attacks. There is only one possibility, his speed is much faster than mine. Tang San felt shocked. I know my physical fitness. Ko Feng, this is the fact. In Wang Feng's eyes, all Tang San's attacks seem to have been slowed down at least 3 or 4 times. Even if he closes his eyes and chews on the blue-silver grass, he can avoid it. All Tang San's offenses, to him, seem to have entered the bullet time in the game. He could dodge as much as he wanted. At this point, Wang Feng probably has a fuzzy boundary on his own strength. It seems that you have to use Xian Tiangong to increase your speed and strength, and solve the battle within 3 punches. Wang Feng's speed aroused Tang San's fighting heart. Tang San took a deep breath, and the Xian Tiangong in his luck rushed towards Wang Feng again. This time, his speed has increased by at least twice. Rushed like a gallop. Wang Feng condensed slightly, and said in his heart, could this be Xian Tiangong? I also have energy in my own body. I don't know how it compares to the internal force generated by the junior third cultivating Xian Tiangong. Every time the body exceeds the limit, a burst of energy will overflow from Meteor Tears, flow through the body, and finally stay a few inches below the abdomen. Normally, Wang Feng would not use this special energy. While thinking, Wang Feng still didn't use it this time, because Wang Feng felt that Tang San's speed. He was still able to dodge, but this time, Wang Feng did not dodge. After having a clear understanding of his own speed, Wang Feng wanted to try his strength, just right. The mistress of Xian Tiangong was a perfect object. A punch, hit. Wang Feng first turned his body sideways, his eyes flashed a burst of light, not evasive. He raised his right fist, directly facing Tang San's fist, and greeted him. Seeing this, Tang San was shocked. I did not expect that this time Feng Gu would not flash. Still choose to collide with yourself? Was thinking. Boom. 2 punches collided. There was a dull collision. The next moment, Tang San's complexion changed. Only a huge force came from Feng Ji's fist, making his fist numb. Pedal. Unable to stop, Tang San stepped back 10 steps before steadying his body, was terrified again in his heart. A punch by himself is much stronger than an adult, at about 200 caddies, plus the mysterious power of luck at this time. The strength is greatly increased. This punch down, at least 400 caddies upward. Although Feng Gu had expected that the speed was very strong, his strength would not be too weak, but I never thought that I couldn't bear it at all. This means that Feng Ji's punch is definitely more than himself. Could it be that I was wrong? Feng Gu climbed the mountain that day. Although he did not show strong power, his physical fitness would not have such power. Tang San was horrified again and again. It is stronger than I transported the Xian Tiangong. It's incredible. Feng Gu is so good to hide, right? Thinking of these years, Tang San couldn't help but twitch when watching Feng Ji's slack look every day, but what Tang San didn't know was, I only used 50% of my power. Wang Feng calculated in his heart that his physical fitness far surpasses Tang San, but the key to innate full soul power is not just physical fitness, but this energy in the body. Wang Feng read most of the novel about Douluo Dalu, and now he has forgotten a lot, but he still read it carefully before. Tang San was able to congenitally be full of soul power because he cultivated to the first level of Xian Tiangong, and internal power was generated in his body, which was later transformed into soul power. Therefore, this energy in one's own body is the key to innate soul power. But, I'm naturally full of soul power, I shouldn't be able to run. This energy in my body, when I surpassed the limit for the 4th time, although the Meteor Tears overflowed a lot, the quantity did not increase, but the quality was higher. Wang Feng knew that this should be the reason for the rules of the Douluo continent. It is necessary to have a spirit ring to get more energy. Yu reading www.yuyucanangshu.com. Just like Tang San, Xiantian Gong has been unable to break through the first layer. At this time, Tang San suddenly said solemnly, "Brother Feng, I didn't expect you to be so strong, but I'm going to be serious. I won't give up easily." These words filled with anger made Wang Feng slightly startled. Does Xiao Sana use hidden weapons? Tang San, the genius of Tang's sect, hidden weapon, is what he is best at. Tang San touched his chest and cuffs with palms. Seeing this, Wang Feng couldn't help but smile. "Little Saner, what are you doing by touching your chest? Is it possible that you are going to throw stones at me?" Hearing the words, Tang San paused, did not speak, only felt that Brother Feng was really keen. Wang Feng naturally knew that Xiao Saner had not built a hidden weapon, so he could only use a stone as a hidden weapon. Thinking of this, Wang Feng smiled calmly and said, "Hehe, I bet there are no stones in your arms. Give up." Miscellaneous. Tang San. Tang San shook his head and said solemnly, "Sorry, Brother Feng, you made a wrong bet. There is a lot of stones in my arms." Wang Feng. Wang Feng complained in his heart, "It seems that not everyone can be a Yan Shuangying. The road is long, I will search up and down." The moment S voice fell, Tang San moved. Did not attack, instead, he moved quickly around Wang Feng. Sounds of breaking through the air from all directions, accompanied by pebbles, precise, like marbles, struck towards Wang Feng. Countless stones, like a giant net, make Wang Feng inevitable. In an instant, I fell into an extremely crisis situation. Chapter 7, Little 3, Be Confident. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In such a dangerous situation, but seeing Wang Feng did not move, he just counted the stones that hit him in his heart. 1, 2, 3, 27. This should be from the Xiantian Baolu, rainstorm pear flower. Wang Feng secretly said in his heart, little Saner hasn't made a hidden weapon to match it. Using stones, I'm afraid that even 1,000th of the original power of the rainstorm pear flower can't be used. But the child happens to be, after taking such a trick, a black nose and a swollen face are indispensable, that I have seen Wang Feng in Douluo continent, and naturally recognized this stone technique. It is the hidden weapon in Xuanhuan, rainstorm pear flower. However, Tang San at this time was only 6 years old, and Xiantian Gong was only at the first level. The various hidden weapon stunts in the Xuanhuan, he certainly could not be perfect. At the same time, looking at Brother Feng, who was fixed on the spot, as if he had been stunned, Tang San faintly smiled. Since being reborn in this Douluo continent, he has spent most of his time practicing various stunts in the Xiantian treasures, such as Xiantian Gong, Purple Demon Eye, and Profound Jade Hand, and many hidden weapons are fascinating, because they are too young, they only practice occasionally, but, it is enough. These hidden weapon hand skills, Tang San is naturally proficient, and with the proficiency of various skills such as Xian Tian Gong and Xian Jade Hands, supplemented by hidden weapons of different materials, they will gradually become stronger. Although I haven't practiced for some days, I used pebbles to display the pear blossoms in the rainstorm, and I passed it. Tang San thought in his heart, although Brother Feng is extremely smart, he guessed that I would use a hidden weapon, but he couldn't think that I didn't just throw stones casually. This is a stone made by rainstorm pear flower. I will win this challenge. Thinking of this, it was the experience of 2 lifetimes, and Tang San couldn't help raising an unspeakable pride. Maybe Feng Ge puts too much pressure on himself, be able to defeat Brother Feng, so that I have a long-lost sense of accomplishment. Tang San thought secretly in his heart, Feng Ge is really strong. Far beyond my imagination. It's a pity that I have too many cards. Tang San thought about Feng Ge's power just now, and couldn't help but feel a tingling scalp. I had to use Xiantian Gong to not say, but also forced myself to use hidden weapons to learn, torrential rain Lihua. Tang San quietly looked at Ge Feng, who was still in the distance, as if he had seen Ge Feng with a blue nose and a swollen nose. Immediately, Tang San could not help taking out the ointment, waited for Brother Feng to admit defeat, and immediately applied it. However, it is at this time The 27 stones ejected instantly, like 27 rays of light, hitting Wang Feng. Wang Feng moved. He stretched out his hands and danced in the air with a slight dignity. The hand speed was so fast that countless afterimages appeared in his hands. And with 2 palms, every time they waved in mid-air, there were a few pebbles ejected, and they were caught in the gap between the fingertips. Less than a second. When Tang San just took out the ointment, his whole person was instantly stunned. Because he saw, Feng Gu was still standing on the spot at this time, just raised his 2 palms, the slender palm of the hand, between the 10 fingers, there are 27 stones in between. Brother Feng. At that moment, he borrowed all the stones with his palm. Tang San stayed. He knows how fast the stones he used and how powerful they are. Said unceremoniously, even if the stump, at such a close distance, the stump can be printed out one by one. The naked eye of an adult, even if it is a pebble, is several times larger than a real hidden weapon, it cannot be seen clearly. Not to mention, all of them were clamped in an instant. Haha. Xiao San, take my own trick, and the fairy scatters flowers. Wang Feng laughed, jumped up suddenly, and shot the stone in his palm towards Tang San. However, Wang Feng doesn't know what to do with rainstorms, was just thrown out in a disorderly manner, let alone laying a dense net with stones. Just threw it out, but the speed and power are not inferior. Tang San was surprised, the fairy scattered flowers. Does Feng Gu know his secret weapon? Impossible. Does this Douluo continent also have hidden weapons that can rival my Tang sect? But when he looked at the shot stone, he secretly said in his heart, it turned out to be coaxing. As a figure of the Tang sect hidden weapon grandmaster level figure, Tang San could tell at a glance that the stone thrown by Feng Gu was unruly, it was just thrown. However, even if it was just thrown around, but the speed is faster than before. Stronger. Tang San was horrified, and quickly dodged 27 stones, 23 of them were avoided by him dexterously. There are 4 more, but they hit me. Sure enough, with Feng's power, even if it is just a stone thrown away, it is more powerful than me. Tang San's face changed, and he felt that the 4 positions of the left shoulder, right waist, front chest, and calf that had been hit, there was a severe pain, which must be swollen. Tang San's complexion was reddish, and his face was covered with intensive fine sweat. At this moment, Tang San knew, he lost. Tang San kicked back several steps, leaning on a big tree, and barely got up. While she was shocked in her heart, she felt bitter again. It's been a long time since I tasted the taste of failure, although it was just a fight between children. Tang San looked at Brother Feng who was coming from a distance, his face was not red, he kicked off, his face still had the rosy luster after exercise. He couldn't help but smile. Brother Feng, I lost, you seem to be better than me. Tang San was a little bit lost. At this time, Wang Feng came over, patted Tang San on the shoulder, and said with a smile. Little San, be confident. Hearing this, Tang San was startled, dark spots in his heart lost, and immediately disappeared. What's to be afraid of if you lose? Brother Feng is right, be confident, I am a genius of Tang's sect. There is no need to be lost, only when I fail, I will become stronger. Thinking of this, Tang San couldn't help but looked at Brother Feng slightly gratefully. Feng Gu is still very good, he is not proud of winning, and he comforts himself, but when Tang San was about to thank Wang Feng, he went to listen to Wang Feng laughing and saying. Be confident, remove the 2 words as if. Tang San's mouth twitched, and suddenly he felt more pain in his body. At this time, Wang Feng picked up the ointment on the ground and said in amazement, Little San, I seem to be complimenting you. I didn't expect you to be so prescient. Have you even prepared the ointment for yourself? How could Wang Feng not know this ointment? Because he was afraid that it was Xiao San, who was afraid that he was injured, so he prepared it for himself. Tang San's mouth twitched again. Ha 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 ha, teasing you. Wang Feng laughed loudly, I will give you medicine. Tang San smiled and nodded, his heart suddenly calmed down a lot. At this time, he felt pain in several places all over his body. When he dodged the stones just now, he exhausted his energy and didn't want to move. Wang Feng rubbed the medicine for Tang San, and Tang San also recovered a little bit of strength. Brother Feng, you didn't use all your strength just now, did you? Tang San hesitated and asked. No, Yu reading www.yuukangshu.com only spent about 80%. Wang Feng said casually, in fact, he only uses 50%. Tang San was startled. 8 achievements crush oneself, if it is 10%, suddenly, Tang San was also aroused by a vigorous fighting spirit. Feng brother is very strong. Not right, is Tang San weak? More than 10 years of Tang's sect, and the past few years of rebirth, I have had a smooth life and I have never experienced failure. Now Brother Feng tells me that there is a sky outside the sky, and there are people outside the world. I, Tang San, must become stronger. For a moment, Tang San thought to himself, Wang Feng didn't know what Tang San was thinking at this time, but only helped him back to the Holy Soul Village. To defeat Tang San, I am inherently full of soul power, so I am stable. Wang Feng thought secretly in his heart, next, I'm waiting for Brother Tao to come to Holy Soul Village. After the two separated, Tang San limped back to the forge, just came back and heard his father's voice. I'm back. Take a good rest. Today you don't need to strike iron for now. Tang San was startled, and it was a long time since he saw his father not sleeping in the morning, as if he had guessed something a long time ago, waiting for himself, clang clang clang. Tang Hao waved the giant hammer and hit the original iron without going to see Tang San. Father. Tang San opened his mouth and said solemnly, I lost. Brother Feng is much better than I thought. Tang Hao spit out a word. He glanced at the piece of raw iron that was sent back, and said in his heart, that I can use my hammer to knock out a piece of raw iron at a time, faster than your 10 days, if you don't lose. It's really a ghost, this maple boy, not easy. Chapter 8, Su Yuntao. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Holy Soul Village. After Wang Feng helped Tang San back to the village, he did not go to Tang San's house, but returned to his own home. Walking on the ground, Wang Feng looked around Xuanhuan village and watched the changes in Xuanhuan village in recent years. The ground is paved with stones. Unlike the pure dirt roads a few years ago, it looks flat and smooth. This is from Nodding City, and it was laid out with stones transported there, which is naturally expensive, the originally ordinary. Holy Soul Village, in the past 2 years, began to vigorously build a lot of novel buildings. On both sides of the road, colorful flowers were planted. In the middle of the village, there is a stone pillar with a handprint on it. This stone pillar was redecorated by Wang Feng's suggestion to village chief Jack at the time. Around the stone pillars, there is a circle built around the dragon head stone sculptures with unique shapes, some resembling dragon-shaped soul beasts, from the dragon's mouth. Water springs spouted out. Surrounding the center of the stone pillar, is like a miniature garden, and in front of the stone pillar, there is a sign, is a brand that introduces the origin of stone pillars. From to noon, many pedestrians from outside looked at the Holy Soul Village in a novel way, then walked to the center, looked at the stone pillar, and then at the sign. I saw lines of small characters on the sign. Many years ago, there was a girl named Xuanhuan in Xuanhuan village. She was innocent, lively and lovely. There was also a young boy named Xiaoyan. The two grew up, childhood sweethearts. Until, one day, both of them came to Wu. The age of soul awakening. Xiaoyan is the hope of the village. He is very talented. Everyone in the village has hope for him. They all think that he can awaken the spirit and become a powerful spirit master. However, on the day that the spirit awakens, Xiaoyan has without awakening the spirit, he does not have the qualifications to become a spirit master. Even many children have awakened the spirit. Only he didn't. Xiaoyan became a waste that everyone in the village looked down upon. Even Wuhuan didn't have waste. However, at this time, little Kaoru has awakened a powerful martial soul. She is still a soul power that is rare in a century. The story is introduced here. No more. Many pedestrians saw it, and their appetite was lifted in their hearts, but they only saw the following line. But, you may not expect that the soul saint handprint on this stone pillar, not from little Kaoru, but, Xiaoyan left it. Want to know the following story, and various reasons, please visit the Holy Soul Village. See this, many pedestrians were shocked. Wow, it's disgusting. How can you not finish the introduction? An outside tourist said angrily. Hey, look, there is a small line in the handprint of the stone pillar, Hadong for 30 years, Hashi for 30 years, don't bully the young man. Wow, it's so passionate, could it be that Xiaoyan left it? He must have become a soul saint, but how did he do it? No, I will stay in the Holy Soul Village for a few years, and read the story of the Soul Holy Handprint. Wang Feng smiled and looked at many tourists and pedestrians, walking from outside the village, then staying in front of the stone pillars, and finally staying obediently. In such a remote place as Xuanhuan village, there is only agriculture. Even if the output increases, it will not make much money. Wang Feng laughed a few times in his heart. Now that Xuanhuan village can live so well, it is naturally not just because of the increase in the output of various crops, but because there are foreign tourists. In previous lives, that is the development of tourism, and this soul saint handprint is the idea that Wang Feng got along with at that time. Then I wrote an article, Douluo Dalu soul breaking the sky, perfect. Anyway, in the original Douluo continent, to the back, there is no specific description of who the soul sage of this holy soul village is. Wang Feng felt that he made up casually, no problem, right? With tourists, Wang Feng asked Grandpa Jack to build a holiday house built of only wooden houses with mountains and waters, and then leave a paragraph of follow-up stories to suspend the appetite of these tourists. Let these tourists make simple consumption in Xuanhuan village. Slowly, life in the natural Holy Soul village has become much better. Otherwise, let Wang Feng, a modern small house in the 21st century, want to get used to this kind of sacred soul village, which is similar to what kind of rural life in the 70s and 80s. What happened? Who made up this messy story? At this time, Wang Feng suddenly heard a slightly dissatisfied voice, turned around and fixed his eyes, only to see a handsome young man with sword-star brows, now with his hands on his back, staring at the sign next to the stone pillar and said dissatisfiedly. The young man wore a white outfit with a black cloak behind his back. There was a fist-sized soul character at the center of his chest. There is a bit of arrogance between the eyebrows. In the village, many people looked at this young man, a little strange, because this young man has a unique temperament in clothes, and he looks like an ordinary person. Why did Brother Tao come? Grandpa Jack said, isn't it a few days before the spirit awakens? Wang Feng looked at this young man in surprise. Although he has never seen each other, but with the other party's clothes, there is a unique breath. Wang Feng concluded that this young man was a well-known tool man in Douluo continent, Su Yuntao. Thinking of this, Wang Feng walked over and said lazily, "My lord, what's wrong with this story?" Su Yuntao turned around and looked at a lazy child, as if he was not afraid of the sky and the earth. He didn't think of the children in other villages at all, and he could not help but frown slightly when he saw him in fear and awe. This story is obviously made up. It's just a curiosity, it's really boring. Su Yuntao looked at Wang Feng, pointed at the stone pillar and shook his head. Disappointed? Why are you disappointed? Wang Feng asked. In this story, Xiao Yan does not have a martial spirit, but later it is implied that Xiao Yan will become a soul saint behind, which is obviously impossible. Su Yuntao smiled faintly. A person without martial arts, let alone become a soul saint, even a soul master is impossible. Isn't this story made up? Upon hearing this, Wang Feng couldn't help but smile. Tao brother is still Tao brother, this familiar taste. When Wang Feng first watched the Douluo continent, Tang San awakened the blue-silver grass martial spirit, and brother Tao vowed to say that it was a useless waste martial spirit, although didn't show up much later, it must have been slapped in the face. So, Wang Feng said slowly, you reading www.uukangshu.com since I think it was made up, sir, it is Holy Soul Village to leave. You kid. It's also interesting. Su Yuntao said with a dumb smile, I'm here, and there are important things, you kid, if you drive me away. Be careful of your village chief, and spank you. Su Yuntao looked at this little guy and said calmly. Is it possible? Do you think I am curious about this fabricated soul saint story, and come to your Holy Soul Village in advance? Wang Feng shrugged and sighed, so you are not curious. Unfortunately, I have a full set of stories here that records how this Xuanhuan became a soul saint. Since you are not interested, I won't show it to you. After speaking, Wang Feng turned and walked into the village. Huh? Do you have a full set of stories here? Yuntao was taken aback, looking at the child's back, took a few steps forward, stretched out his hand, and stopped talking, as if he wanted to stop the child. At this moment, Wang Feng suddenly turned around. Yuntao quickly retracted his hand, and behind his back, with a calm expression on his face, "What? You kid, what else is there?" Wang Feng gave him a weird look, shook his head, and said to himself. "In a few days, I will be awakening a martial soul. I don't know what martial soul I will awaken." After speaking this time, Wang Feng turned and left without looking back. Hee, this kid. Yuntao looked at the back of the child leaving, pondered for a few seconds and said, "It just so happens that I will stay for a few days too. In an instant ahead of time, see if this holy soul village can become a good seedling of a soul master." A few days later, Grandpa Jack took Wang Feng, Tang San, and the other 7 children in the village to the Wuhuan Hall of Xuanhuan village. Chapter 9, Golden Legend. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xuanhuan village, Wuhuan Hall, because it has been repaired, Wuhandian is not the dilapidated cabin in the original work, is instead made of jade white rock, which has the taste of a temple. Xiao Feng, it doesn't matter if Wuhuan is not good. Grandpa Jack stood outside the village with a group of children. First, he patted Wang Feng, who he had raised for several years, and said kindly, "Without a spirit, you can't become a soul master. You can stay in the Holy Soul Village in the future. It just so happens that we, the Holy Soul Village, need you." Wang Feng is full of black lines. This old guy just wants to stay in the Holy Soul Village. After all, many changes in the village in the past few years have been my own ideas. Now the villagers live better day by day, so naturally they want to keep themselves. Even if it is delicious and delicious every day, it is fine. I said, "Grandpa, this is not awakened yet." Wang Feng said dissatisfiedly. Hee, Brother Feng is so lazy every day. Your father and mother do not have martial arts, and you certainly do not have martial arts. Don't worry. A little boy looked at Wang Feng with a grin. You kid, are you looking for a fight? Wang Feng glared at the little boy. The little boy shrank his neck and dared not speak any more. In this month, Wang Feng has gone through a lot of hard work, coupled with the transformation of meteors and tears, although the whole person has not said that there has been an earth-shaking change, but the momentum has also changed a lot, from the lazy look before, a bit more aggressive, plus the children in the village, they were scared of him. He stared. These children are timid, afraid that they will have nightmares at night. Among you, Xiao San has the most hope to become a soul master. Awakening a powerful spirit. Grandpa Jack looked at Tang San, who was silent, recalling the situation of going to Tang Hao's house 2 days ago, and he couldn't help shaking his head. Tang Hao, that stubborn old guy. As for Xiaofeng, Grandpa doesn't require you to be a soul master. Grandpa Jack looked at Wang Feng and said with a smile, "What ordinary martial arts can you awaken, such as blue silver grass, hoe, sickle?" Grandpa is also satisfied, it's somewhat useful. Wang Feng, are you so distrustful of me? But think about it, Wang Feng thinks so. Wuhuan is generally determined by the biological father and mother, are mostly passed down. He passed through his biological father and mother in the Douluo continent. He was really an ordinary farmer with a very ordinary spirit, is not like a mistress. Fathers and mothers all hang up. Okay, let me go in. Don't be afraid when you meet the Master of Soul, but don't talk nonsense, so as not to make the Master of Soul impatient. Jack told the children several times. Then led the children into the Wuhuan Hall. Not long, several people walked in, saw a young man standing in the center of Wuhuan Hall, seeming to hear footsteps. The young man turned around and looked at everyone. This is the Soul Master from Nodding City, Yuntao. Jack said respectfully to the young man. Just after he finished speaking, he was taken aback. He hurried forward a few steps and said in a low voice, "Master Su, these 2 days, but we are not entertained." Why do you have dark circles? Yes, 2 days ago, this Su Yuntao War Spirit Master came to Holy Soul Village, asked to see if there are any children in the village who can become Soul Masters. It's just, why are your eye circles black now? It looked like he was not resting. No. I'm just a little tired. Start now. Su Yuntao said impatiently. It was Wang Feng who was watching this scene and almost laughed. Brother Tao is like this, like him who stayed up late to read novels in his previous life. When I came the day before yesterday, my hair was fresh and crisp, and the whole person exuded a feeling of spring breeze. Where is it like now? My hair is wrinkled and oily, and there are dark circles on my eyes. It's definitely been these 2 days. I've been collecting stories that I made up to break the sky, and then stayed up late to watch, and Su Yuntao was also very annoyed, and just wanted to end this test quickly and continue to watch the story of the soul breaking the sky. Is really strange. It's obviously just a very vulgar story, but it happened to let him accidentally indulge in it for these 2 days. See a ghost. There is also that kid, he actually said that he has a full story. Su Yuntao looked at a few children with worry, until the sight of Wang Feng fell on Wang Feng. He was startled. Isn't this that kid? Humph. I am Su Yuntao, a 26th level Soul Master. Su Yuntao looked at Wang Feng lightly. In this way, I want to calm this kid. Not surprisingly, when I heard these words, the eyes of many other children were full of worship and respect. Even Tang San showed curiosity. I don't know, the only kid who looked at him indifferently, said with a grin, Master of the Soul, so great, can you always start? Our spirits are already hungry and thirsty and want to come out. Hearing this, several children laughed suddenly. Tang San also smiled heartily. Brother Feng is Brother Feng, heartless, not afraid of the sky and the earth. Su Yuntao choked. This little kid, forget it, because you have a full set of stories about the soul breaking the sky. I don't bother to care about it with you. Humph, I have passed through 6 villages, and there is no one with spirit power, let alone a slightly better spirit. Su Yuntao shook his head. Obviously even you would not be better there. Soon he was not talking too much, directly took out 6 black round stones, waved and sprinkled them, and laid a hexagon on the ground, took out another crystal ball. From left to right, walk inside one by one. Su Yuntao pointed to the hexagon on the ground. A faint light emerged from the hexagon. The first child walked in. Su Yuntao whispered, Lone Wolf, point 1 white and 1 yellow. 2 spirit rings rose from his body. At the same time, Su Yuntao's figure swelled rapidly, full of power. Many children were stunned and stepped back one after another, with fear in their eyes, as well as admiration and curiosity. Su Yuntao swiftly moved towards the hexagonal stone, and quickly shot several green awns with his hands. The golden glow shimmered slightly, covering the child. Extend your right hand. Yu read www.yuukangshu.com. Su Yuntao snorted softly. The child hurriedly stretched out his hand, and a small sickle appeared. Then touched the crystal ball, but there was no response. Su Yuntao shook his head. The child walked out disappointed. Then, the children behind walked in one by one. The farther behind, Su Yuntao became more disappointed, until Tang San. The golden light is brighter than the previous ones. Golden legend. Wang Feng muttered. He looked at Tang San's left hand. Xindao, clear sky hammer. Should it be in Tang San's left hand? I saw Tang San tightly squeezing his left hand, only spreading his right hand, revealing a blue-silver grass. When he saw this blue-silver grass, Tang San's face went dark. Brother Feng, are you poisonous? Tang San was speechless. In fact, it was nothing but Lan Yin Chao, but Brother Feng had previously said that his martial arts spirit was Lan Yin Chao, which made Tang San feel helpless. Of course, Tang San didn't believe that Wuhuan was determined by Brother Feng, but it was Two Crow's mouth. However, Tang San squeezed his left hand slightly. He felt that this hand seemed to condense a kind of martial spirit, but Tang San didn't want to show it. Blue-silver grass again. Su Yuntao shook his head, but the next moment, he opened his eyes wide. After watching Tang San put his hand on the crystal ball, an extremely dazzling blue light filled the entire room. Innately full of soul power. Su Yuntao lost his voice. After lost his voice, Su Yuntao recovered for a long time. Looking at Tang San, his eyes were shocked and disappointed. Wang Feng stared at the crystal ball, thinking, if I mobilize all the energy in my body, this crystal ball, should it explode? Chapter 10, 9-Star Begonia. Mysterious Qinglian Wuhun. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Will explode, Wang Feng doesn't know, but Tang San's innate soul power was shocked to Yuntao. Yuntao seemed to see the curiosity in Tang San's eyes and couldn't help but sighed and explained. You must first become a soul master, and soul power is the most important thing. Even if the martial souls that are discarded only have soul power, they can cultivate through meditation and become a soul master. None of the previous children have soul power. Force. But you are born with 10th level soul power, which is the so-called innate full soul power. Yuntao's eyes are very complicated, innately full of spirit power, a rare aptitude in a century, is the blue silver grass martial spirit. Okay. Tang San nodded. Innate soul power means your qualifications to become a soul master. The higher your qualifications, the faster your cultivation speed. Yuntao looked at Tang San, and continued, innately full of soul power, the number of times the mainland has appeared is very few. So far, you are the first and last I have ever seen. It is impossible for me to meet again. It's the second one, but unfortunately, your spirit is blue silver grass. Hearing this, Wang Feng on the side couldn't help laughing. I said, Master, am I transparent? Why can't there be a second one? This Tao brother is also true. I've been standing here for a long time, you let me finish the test anyway. You are saying this, can't you? Xiao Feng, fool around. Before Yuntao spoke, the village chief Jack on the side glared at Wang Feng. You can compare with Xiao San. It's not bad if you can awaken the spirit of martial arts. Do you think that the innate soul power is a rotten street thing? Wang Feng, seeing village chief Jack scolding the kid, Yuntao also laughed, shook his head and said. Innately full of soul power, it is rare in 100 years. It is rare that one can appear in the Holy Soul village. The meaning of his kid, don't think about it. Tang San thought of something rare, just because of his own practice of Xian Tian Gong. Otherwise, ordinary children can't be born with full spirit power, for no reason. How can there be this kind of internal force that you have cultivated in your body? Unless it is really a super genius, there is no need to practice, the body is born with spirit power. Tang San thought in his heart, this kind of super genius may be rare in the world. At this time, Wang Feng was dissatisfied. So, Master Yuntao, what do you mean by this is that it's impossible for me to be full of soul power? Despite the energy in the body, Wang Feng didn't know if it would stimulate the energy ball reaction, but being so denied, Wang Feng felt very upset. Tang San couldn't help but walk to Wang Feng, was silent for a moment, and said. Brother Feng, be more confident, and remove the words like. Tang San knew that he was not a super genius, but because he had practiced Xian Tian Gong, but Brother Feng did not practice Xian Tian Gong. Feng Gu is talented and has superb physical quality, but his soul power is related to the body. Moreover, during the previous fight, Tang San didn't notice that Feng Gu used any energy similar to internal force, is terribly strong pure physical fitness. Therefore, Tang San thinks it is impossible to be truly innately full of soul power. Wang Feng, yo, Xiao Saner, improved. Will follow me. Wang Feng twitched the corner of his mouth. He was indeed the protagonist, and his learning ability was a leverage. Okay, don't talk nonsense with you kid. Come in and test the martial arts first. Yuntao glared at Wang Feng. Wang Feng hummed in his heart and walked directly to the center of the hexagon. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully punching in, obtained the mysterious martial spirit reward. Please close your eyes. Feel the mysterious martial spirit. A familiar voice rang in his head. Wang Feng was surprised. Immediately close your eyes. Boom. Then, in my mind, it seemed to burst. Fell into an endless chaos. In the middle of the chaos, a mysterious lotus flower blooms quietly, exuding a grand and ancient atmosphere. That is. Wang Feng stared at the green lotus faintly, as if seeing the supreme world. Next moment, that Qinglian suddenly flew towards Wang Feng, and instantly entered the center of his eyebrows. Boom! Consciousness exploded in an instant, and endless echoes rang out in Wang Feng's mind. He couldn't hear or see anything, until, a long time passed, a long time, Wang Feng returned to his senses and heard a calm voice in his ear. It's another waste martial arts soul, an unknown wild flower. But when sounded, Wang Feng opened his eyes and looked at the martial soul in his hand. A mysterious pocket green lotus quietly blooms in the palm of the hand, looks a bit similar to the 9-star begonia, but the shape of the petals is completely different, and there are 12 leaves that wrap the 24 petals in the center, is very beautiful. It is a flower-shaped martial soul that has never been seen before. Yuntao shook his head. It looks pretty good. Maybe it's useful, but it's not much worse than blue silver grass. Tang San looked at the green lotus, slightly surprised. Lotus? This Feng Ji's martial soul is very similar to the lotus flower he has seen in his previous life. However, this Qinglian has a special beauty. It's no wonder that Master Su Yuntao can't recognize it at all. Tang San thought secretly in his heart. In the world of Douluo continent, Tang San didn't see a lotus-like plant. However, it is said that it is a lotus flower, but it is not completely. Tang San thought, perhaps, it may not necessarily be a waste martial arts soul. Not bad, only Grandpa Jack said with a smile. Xiao Feng, if we can plant this kind of flowers in our village in the future, it would not be good. Wang Feng suddenly laughed. This is not a waste of martial arts spirit, is not an ordinary lotus either. How can the things provided by the system be simple? Plus, just now, my consciousness saw the mysterious green lotus in that dark and chaotic world. I'm afraid it is Chaos Qinglian. Wang Feng thought with trembling in his heart. Past life as a super novel fan, it is natural to understand that in the background of ancient Chinese mythology, this is the treasure of chaos in the prehistoric era, and it is a horror thing that you can't imagine. My own martial soul is such a terrifying thing. Wang Feng looked at the blooming green lotus. His body was a little trembling. There are countless versions of the ancient mythology, but this chaotic green lotus is truly amazing. According to legend, Pangu ancestor was conceived from the lotus seeds of this chaotic green lotus, but Wang Feng looked at the green lotus, and there were only 4 lotus seeds. It is estimated that this chaotic green lotus is somewhat different. In ancient rumors, the next few lotus seeds, one of them were transformed into 36 good fortune green lotus, and later transformed into the 3 most treasures, the 3 treasure jade rui, Tai Buddha dust, and Qingping sword. The remaining 3 lotus seeds were transformed into the 12th grade meritorious golden lotus, the 12th grade industry fire red lotus, and the 12th grade black lotus, is the supreme innate defense spirit treasure. Different functions. The 5 large lotus leaves are transformed into 5 flags, which are, Wuji apricot yellow flag, golden lotus and thousands of flowers, nothing to break, green lotus color banner, relics are light, calm and calm, leaving the ground flame light flag, chaotic yin and yang, reverse the 5 elements, plain cloud boundary flag, the strange image is full, and the world is bright, Xuanhuan soap carving flag, hazy universe, covering the sky and the sun. To put it simply, there are control, relief, recovery, confusion, and so on. The lotus of Qinglian turns into a heaven and earth tripod, which can refine the essence of items. Simply put, it can improve the quality of items. Its rhizome absorbs the air of innate killing and turns into a gunshot. Even the saint can hurt the soul. There are many more. Wang Feng's eyes were red. Yu reading www.yuukangshu.com looked at this mysterious green lotus. Although I don't know if it will be as perverted as the legend. Moreover, this is not a real entity. Chaos Qinglian is just Wuhun form. But even if it is a martial soul, it only needs to exert some power. What variant 9-hearted begonia, Qibao glazed tower, it's not worthy to carry shoes for this thing, and it is a full range of martial arts. As the soul master level increases, this Qinglian will exert a special and different power. Wang Feng's heart was hot, and a deep curiosity emerged from the bottom of his heart. Want to unearth the power of this mysterious green lotus. Is it really as perverted and exaggerated as I imagined? Just imagine, if this green lotus can be transformed into the form Wang Feng thinks, such as the 3-treasure Jade Rui, Qingping sword, or a combined 36-rank Jing Shi Qinglian, or it can be transformed into a 12-rank the Black Lotus of the World, or turned into a 5-sided banner, a celestial tripod, and a magic spear, possesses different abilities, different forms, with different powers. Who can stand this special? Yuntao looked at Wang Feng, who was extremely excited, and couldn't help but shook his head. An unknown wildflower Wuhuan, why is it so excited? Okay, do you still test your soul power? Yuntao frowned and asked, why don't you forget it? He wanted to save some face for this kid. Forget it. Wang Feng was taken aback, and waved his hand. No, just take a test. Said, Wang Feng put his palm on the crystal ball at will. Boom. Jingguang masterpiece. Can't open the eyes of a few people. Yuntao suddenly froze in place, petrified.